Did you know that in 2011, the Costa Concordia disaster occurred in Italy and illustrated the power of the availability heuristic? The Costa Concordia was a cruise ship that ran aground and capsized off the coast of Tuscany, resulting in 32 deaths. Following the tragedy, many people became more fearful of cruising and believed that cruises were no longer safe. This fear was fueled by the media coverage and availability heuristic, as the vivid and shocking images of the capsized ship were constantly replayed on TV and in newspapers. As a result, the cruise industry suffered significant financial losses as many people canceled their bookings and avoided taking cruises altogether. The availability heuristic led people to overestimate the likelihood of a cruise ship disaster, despite the fact that cruising remains one of the safest forms of transportation. This example shows how the availability heuristic can influence people's perception of risk and can have real-world consequences. Hey rational rebels! Welcome to the arena of reason, where we train our minds to spot cognitive pitfalls. This is Chris from Critical Conditioning, where we strive for cognitive precision and free our brains from that mental prison. Today's episode is all about the availability heuristic, a cognitive bias that can lead to flawed decision-making by overestimating the importance of information that is easily accessible in our minds. We'll be discussing how this heuristic works, its real-world implications, and how you can avoid falling into its trap. As always, if you enjoy this content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all our content. If you want to support us, please consider donating to our PayPal using the link in the description. Your contribution helps us continue to provide you with thought-provoking content. And if you find this episode helpful, please share it with your friends and family to help spread the word. Let's strengthen our minds together. Availability heuristic fun fact 1. Did you know that the availability heuristic can even influence our taste buds? Taste buds are sensory organs on our tongues that allow us to taste different flavors. In a study, participants were given a description of a fictitious food and were then asked to rate its taste. The participants who were given a more detailed description rated the food as more delicious, despite it not actually being real. This demonstrates how our perception of something can be swayed by how easily it comes to mind, even to the point of altering our actual sensory experiences through our taste buds. This study highlights the power of the availability heuristic, which can cause us to rely too heavily on easily accessible information when making judgments or decisions. Okay, now let's dive into some fascinating studies and questionnaire results that shed light on the power of the availability heuristic. Firstly, have you ever been tempted to buy a product just because you saw it advertised multiple times in a short period? This is a classic example of the availability heuristic in action. In a study conducted by psychologists Tversky and Kahneman, participants were presented with a list of famous names and asked which ones were more famous. The results showed that people tended to choose names they were more familiar with, even though their actual level of fame was not taken into account. This same concept can be applied to advertising. The more you see a product advertised, the more likely you are to choose it over a less familiar alternative, regardless of its actual quality. Another interesting study showed how the availability heuristic can affect our perception of crime rates. Participants were asked to estimate the number of crimes committed in their area over the past year. Those who were shown a news article detailing a recent crime wave in the area estimated a significantly higher number of crimes than those who were not shown the article. This demonstrates how media coverage of certain events can create a distorted perception of reality, leading us to overestimate the likelihood of similar events occurring. But the availability heuristic doesn't just affect our perceptions of external events, it can also influence our own memories. In a study conducted by Loftus and Palmer, participants were shown a video of a car accident and asked to estimate the speed at which the cars were traveling. Those who were asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other estimated a significantly higher speed than those who were asked how fast they were going when they hit each other. This shows how the wording of a question can affect the way we recall and perceive events from our own past experiences. In a study conducted by researchers at the University of California, participants were shown a series of photos of faces and were asked to rate their trustworthiness. Some of the faces were accompanied by a brief description of the individual, such as, "She is a nurse," while others were not. The participants consistently rated the faces accompanied by a profession as more trustworthy, even though there was no correlation between profession and trustworthiness. Overall, these studies and questionnaire results demonstrate the fascinating and counterintuitive ways in which the availability heuristic can influence our perceptions and decisions. So next time you find yourself relying on your gut instincts, take a step back and consider whether your perception of the situation is being influenced by the availability heuristic. Availability heuristic fun fact 2: have you ever wondered why certain songs get stuck in your head? It could be due to the availability heuristic. Our brains tend to latch onto things that are easily recalled, such as catchy tunes. This is why advertisers often use jingles in their commercials, as they are more likely to stick in our minds and influence our purchasing decisions. When it comes to the availability heuristic, there are some individual differences that can make certain people more susceptible to its effects. One surprising finding is that people who are highly anxious or neurotic may actually be less affected by the availability heuristic than others. This is because anxiety can make people more cautious and deliberative in their decision-making, causing them to weigh all available information more carefully rather than relying on the most readily available information. On the other hand, people who are low in neuroticism and tend to be more confident in their decision-making abilities may be more likely to fall prey to the availability heuristic. Another counterintuitive finding is that people who are highly knowledgeable about a particular subject may actually be more susceptible to the availability heuristic in that area. This is because their extensive knowledge can lead them to rely too heavily on their own experience and the information they have readily available, rather than considering a wider range of possibilities. Finally, there is some evidence that people who are in a positive mood may be more susceptible to the availability heuristic. This may be because positive moods can lead people to be more confident and less cautious in their decision-making, causing them to rely on the most easily available information rather than taking the time to carefully consider all options. Overall, these findings suggest that there are a variety of individual factors that can influence how susceptible someone is to the availability heuristic, and that these factors may not always be what we would expect. I got a question for you guys: do you believe that the availability heuristic can be used to manipulate people's opinions and behaviors? Have you ever witnessed this happening to someone you know? Share your thoughts in the comments below and remember to read what others are saying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the discussion. The availability heuristic is a cognitive bias that also affects everyone's daily lives a lot. Here are some practical examples of how the availability heuristic is present in our lives. 1. News media. News outlets often prioritize sensational or emotionally charged stories over those that are more important but less emotionally stimulating. This can lead people to overestimate the frequency of certain events or issues, such as crime or political scandals. 2. Marketing and advertising. Advertisers often use vivid and memorable images or slogans to make their products seem more desirable. This can lead people to overestimate the quality or benefits of a product based solely on its availability and exposure in the media. 3. Personal experience. People are more likely to base their judgments on their personal experiences or those of people they know, rather than on statistical data. For example, someone who has had a bad experience with a particular brand of car may be more likely to believe that all cars from that brand are unreliable. To spot the availability heuristic in yourself and others, it's important to question the sources of your information and to be aware of your emotional reactions to certain events or stimuli. It can also be helpful to seek out diverse perspectives and data before making a judgment or decision. One technique to overcome the availability heuristic is to deliberately seek out more information and perspectives on a given topic. This can help to counteract the tendency to rely on the most easily accessible information. Another method is to take a step back and consider the bigger picture, rather than focusing solely on emotionally charged or vivid examples. Overall, being aware of the availability heuristic and taking steps to overcome it can lead to more accurate judgments and decisions. Availability heuristic is surely being used to manipulate us into buying things. Do you think it is ethical for companies to use the availability heuristic in their marketing strategies to influence consumers' purchasing decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments below and remember to read what others are saying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the discussion. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Critical Conditioning, where we focus on strengthening your mind's analytical skills and helping you avoid cognitive pitfalls. We hope you enjoyed learning about the availability heuristic and how it affects our decision-making process. Remember, our channel is all about empowering you to think critically and make informed choices. So, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest episodes. If you found this episode valuable, please consider sharing it with your friends and family. By spreading the word, you can help us reach even more people who are looking to improve their analytical skills. If you find value in the content we create and would like to support our mission of empowering individuals to think critically, please consider making a donation to our PayPal using the link in the description. Your support will go a long way in helping us continue to bring you valuable content and strengthen the analytical skills of our audience. Thank you for joining us in our journey to keep your mind sharp, rational rebels. Until the next time we meet in the arena of reason, this is Chris from Critical Conditioning signing off.